The winter sun was slipping behind the skyline when Evelyn Hart stepped out of the marble lobby of her corporate tower, her heels clicking against the pavement like tiny declarations of power. To most of the city, she was untouchable, chairwoman of Hart Group, a billionaire known for her poise, her intelligence, and her uncanny ability to turn sinking businesses into gold. Her presence alone made people straighten their backs. Yet on this evening, as the wind curled through the streets and tugged at her coat, her eyes were drawn to something that made her heartbeat pause. Beside the concrete steps, wrapped in a torn blanket, sat a young woman clutching two babies. Not toddlers, infants, one crying softly, the other fast asleep, too exhausted to even whimper. The woman's shoulders shook as if she were shivering from more than cold. Evelyn slowed, her steps no longer purposeful or sharp, but hesitant. Something tugged at her chest, something she couldn't fully explain. She'd seen beggars before. In a city like this, everyone had. But this was different. The woman wasn't asking for money. In fact, she looked terrified that anyone might approach her. She held her babies as if the world was trying to steal them away. Evelyn's driver opened the car door, waiting for her. But she didn't move toward it. She moved toward the girl. "Are you all right?" Evelyn asked softly. The young woman's head jerked up. Her eyes, wide, tired, red, met hers. She looked barely 25. Her lips parted, but she didn't speak at first, as if unused to anyone addressing her with care. I'm fine, ma'am," she whispered, clutching the babies tighter. "You're not," Evelyn replied. "You're freezing, and those children need warmth." The young woman swallowed, her chin trembling. "I can't go anywhere. I don't have anyone." Something inside Evelyn cracked open. Maybe it was because she had once been a young mother trying to survive her husband's indifference while pretending everything was perfect. Maybe it was because she remembered what desperation tasted like, even though her world now was wrapped in money and marble floors. Or maybe it was simply that kindness didn't need a reason. "Come with me," Evelyn said. "I'll help." The girl hesitated. "Why? You don't even know me." "Because I can," Evelyn answered. "And because no one should be out here with children." The girl exhaled shakily, as though surrendering a battle she'd been fighting for months. Evelyn gently helped her stand and guided her to the warm car. The driver raised an eyebrow but said nothing. Evelyn Hart was known to act decisively, unexpectedly, and always with purpose. The woman settled into the seat with her infants nestled closely. Evelyn instructed the driver to go home, not to a shelter or a hotel. Something about this situation felt too fragile to trust to strangers. As the car rolled through the city, Evelyn studied her face. "What's your name?" "Lena," she whispered. "Lena Duarte. And your children?" She hesitated, as though revealing their names made them vulnerable. "Milo and Amira." Beautiful names, Evelyn thought. Soft and full of promise. She didn't cry about why Lena was on the streets. Trauma often needed silence before it needed words. When they arrived at her mansion, gated, enormous, warm with soft amber lighting, Lena gasped softly. She seemed torn between awe and shame. Evelyn touched her arm gently. "You're safe here. That's all that matters." Inside, staff rushed forward, confused but obedient. Evelyn ordered warm blankets, hot soup, and a doctor for the babies. Milo had a fever. Amira was underweight. The doctor raised concerned eyebrows but didn't judge. "This will take time, but they're fighters," he reassured. Lena cried quietly into her hands. Over the next few days, Evelyn found herself drawn into their little world. She learned that the babies liked to be held close, that Milo clenched his fists when he dreamed, that Amira smiled in her sleep more than when awake. And Lena, she smiled at everything her babies did, even when tears lined her eyes. Finally, one evening, while the babies slept peacefully in their new crib, Evelyn brought Lena tea and sat beside her. "You're safe now," she said. "You can tell me what happened." Lena's fingers trembled around the mug. She stared into the steam as if watching memories rise. "I was in love," she started softly. "With a man who promised me everything. I didn't know he was married." A cold weight dropped in Evelyn's chest. "He told me he was separated, lonely, unloved. He said he needed me." Lena's voice wavered. "When I found out I was pregnant, he told me he'd take care of us. But then he changed. Started avoiding me, telling me I stressed him out. That I ruined his life." Evelyn's stomach twisted. She felt an uneasiness clawing its way up her spine. What was his name? She asked, her voice almost a whisper. Lena hesitated. I don't want to cause trouble for anyone. You won't, Evelyn said gently. I promise. I just need to know. Lena closed her eyes, a tear slipping down. His name was Lucas Hart. The world seemed to freeze for a moment. Lucas Hart, Evelyn's husband. Her breath caught in her throat. She rose abruptly, needing space, needing oxygen. The room blurred around her. Lena flinched, misunderstanding. I'm sorry, she cried. I didn't know he was married until it was too late. When I confronted him, he kicked me out of my apartment. Said I ruined his reputation. I had nowhere to go. I swear I didn't want trouble. Evelyn held up a hand gently, fighting back her whirlwind of emotions. This wasn't the time to crumble. Not in front of this girl who had been cast aside like trash. Not in front of these children who had done nothing wrong. She inhaled slowly. Lena, she said softly, you did nothing wrong. But he's your husband, she whispered, devastated. Evelyn swallowed. Not for much longer. That night, Evelyn didn't sleep. She walked through the hallways of her mansion, the moonlight painting everything silver. She had suspected Lucas of infidelity over the years, but never children. Never cruelty. Never homelessness. By morning, she had made a decision. She confronted Lucas later that day in his office. He scoffed, denied, yelled, and when the truth cornered him, he blamed Lena, called her names, dismissed her humanity entirely. Evelyn felt something inside her snap, the final fracture of a marriage already built on cracks. You're done, she said calmly. With me, with this family, with this empire. She walked away knowing she would never look back. For days afterward, Lena avoided Evelyn, hurt by the chaos she believed she'd caused. Evelyn, meanwhile, felt her heart breaking not from betrayal, but from the idea that Lena thought she deserved blame. On the fourth night, Evelyn found her in the nursery, rocking Amira gently in the dark. You don't have to hide from me, Evelyn said softly. Lena's eyes brimmed with tears. I ruined your marriage. No, Evelyn said, sitting beside her. Lucas ruined everything. You and your babies, you're the only innocent ones in this story. Lena wept then. Quiet, trembling sobs. Evelyn put her arm around her, and for the first time, Lena didn't pull away. Days turned into weeks. The babies grew stronger. Lena laughed more often. Evelyn discovered something unexpected blooming inside her, a sense of family she hadn't felt in years. But the city had its own way of revealing truth. One afternoon, Evelyn received news that Lucas had been hospitalized after collapsing from stress and alcohol withdrawal. She visited him not out of love, but closure. When she arrived, she found him weak, frightened, and very much alone. How could you take them in? He rasped. After what she did, after what you did, Evelyn corrected. I didn't save her because of you. I saved her because she needed saving. You'll regret it, he spat. She looked at him with calm clarity. No, the only thing I regret is staying with you so long that you believed cruelty was your right. She left without looking back. When she returned home, Lena was in the kitchen, feeding Milo mashed carrots. Her smile, small, genuine, felt like sunshine in the quiet room. Everything okay? She asked softly. Evelyn nodded. Everything is exactly as it should be. Months passed, and what began as charity slowly, unexpectedly, became love, not romantic love, but something stronger. Something built from shared pain, shared strength, shared rebuilding. One spring morning, as they watched the babies toddle across the garden lawn, Lena whispered, I don't know how to repay you. Evelyn shook her head gently. You already have. How? Lena asked, confused. Evelyn looked at her, her voice sincere. You reminded me that even after betrayal, even after heartbreak, kindness still matters. Humanity still matters. I was beginning to forget that. Lena's eyes softened, shimmering. You saved me, Evelyn. And you saved me, she replied. The world outside kept spinning. Chaotic, unpredictable, sometimes cruel, but within the walls of Evelyn's home, something rare had taken root. Healing, family, hope. By the time Milo and Amira took their first steps, Evelyn realized she loved them as if they were her own grandchildren. Lena had her life back, her dignity back, her future back. And Evelyn, who had once been surrounded by wealth yet starved for connection, finally felt full. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the garden, casting golden halos around the babies, Lena whispered, "You could have walked past me that night." Most people would have. Evelyn smiled. Most people aren't meant to be in each other's lives forever. Sometimes fate nudges us where we're needed. Lena touched her hand gently. "I'm glad fate brought me to you." Evelyn squeezed her fingers. "And I'm grateful you trusted me enough to stay." Their lives were forever changed not by wealth, not by power, not by blood, but by a simple act of compassion, a billionaire kneeling beside a freezing mother on a cold city street. A moment that could have passed unnoticed became the beginning of a story none of them would ever forget. Sometimes the hardest truths lead to the most beautiful beginnings. And sometimes, saving someone else is the only way to save yourself.